Hello and welcome to a news program. My name is Sauda Mganga. You're watching Natural Television from Ankara in Turkey. I'll bring to you your news headlines today. Welcome to our news headlines. Yesterday, Turkey held local elections in all cities. Millions of Turkish voters casted their votes in the local elections to choose Turkey's mayors, city councils, members, muhtar, neighborhood officials, and members of Edari councils for the next 5 years. Let us update you starting with the main opposition mayor candidate Mansur Yavaş for capital Ankara with his remarks on Sunday stating that justice had been served. He said, "We will embrace this city, Ankara, without further discrimination." After Sunday's polls, Mansur of the Republican People's Party CHP is ahead of with 50.62% of votes according to unofficial results.
Bunu asla unutmayacağız. Kimseye işini öğretmeyeceğiz. Sadece işimizi yapacağız.
Continuing to northwestern Kocaeli province, supporters of ruling Justice and Development AK Party candidate Tahir Büyük Akin celebrated following the announcement of the unofficial results for Turkey's local elections that took place yesterday in northwestern Kocaeli province.
4 ayın üzerinde bir süredir. Bugün tam 127 gün oldu.
President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said on Sunday that the Turkish nation has made the ruling Justice and Development AK Party winner of 15 consecutive elections. Erdogan said 56% of municipalities in Turkey will be run by AK Party in an address to the nation from the balcony of his party headquarters in capital Ankara after Sunday's local election victory. He said, "I would like to thank all my citizens, especially our Kurdish brothers, for showing sensitivity towards the issue of survival." Turkey's ruling party is leading the local elections with 16 metropolitan municipalities and 24 cities claimed by AK Party candidates according to unofficial results.
İfade etmenin gayreti içinde olun. Buna rağmen eksiklerimiz varsa bunları düzeltmek boynumuzun borcudur.
Supporters of main opposition Republican People's Party CHP candidate Tunç Soyer celebrated following the announcement of unofficial results for Turkey's local elections on Sunday in western Izmir province.
Müziği alalım bir saniye. Sevgili arkadaşlar,
Still with the local elections in Turkey, Turkey's ruling Justice and Development AK Party's mayor candidate for Istanbul Binali Yildirim held a press conference yesterday after the elections. Celebrating in his words, he said, "We won elections in Istanbul."
İstanbul'da seçimi kazandık.
The headquarters of Turkey's main opposition, Republican People's Party (CHP), as ballots counting continued in Ankara, Turkey. The voting ended for local elections in all 81 provinces across Turkey at 5 p.m. local time on Sunday.
Bakın bu şartlarda yine heyecanlı bir olacağını gördük. Bakın burada ittifaksız, MHP onlarda kaldı, CHP onlarda kaldı.
Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan casted his ballot in Istanbul on Sunday for the local elections. Speaking to the reporters after casting his vote, Erdogan expressed hope for high turnout in ballot boxes. He said the voting process is continuing smoothly across Turkey. Erdogan followed the election results in Istanbul and after he addressed a news conference. Sunday's polls mark the first local elections in Turkey under the new presidential government system adopted in April 2017 referendum. Voting started at 7 a.m. local time and continued through 4 p.m. local time in 32 out of Turkey's 81 provinces. In the remaining provinces, polling stations open at 8 a.m. local time and close at 5 p.m. local time. Officials probing the crash in Ethiopia of a Boeing 737 MAX have preliminarily concluded that a flight control feature automatically activated before it crashed, the Wall Street Journal says. The newspaper, citing unnamed sources, said the findings were relied on Thursday at a briefing at the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration. The flight control feature is meant to help prevent the plane from stalling. Boeing said it could not comment as the investigation was still underway. It also said all inquiries should be referred to the investigation authorities. Meanwhile, Ethiopia's Ministry of Transport said, "We have seen the WSJ report and will comment shortly." Thursday also saw what is thought to be the first lawsuit filed of the crash. Members of Parliament rejected Theresa May's European Union withdrawal agreement on the day the UK was due to leave the EU. The government lost by 344 votes to 286, a margin of 58. It means the UK had missed EU deadline to delay Brexit to 22 May and leave with a deal. The Prime Minister said the UK would have to find an alternative way forward, which was almost certain to involving holding European elections. Ms. May now has until 12th April to seek a longer extension to the negotiation process to avoid a no-deal Brexit on that date. A funeral is being held for a 26-year-old woman who gave birth to a baby boy on Thursday despite being brain dead since December. International spokeswoman Katarina Siqueira was declared brain dead after acute asthma attack at the home. The baby named Salvador was born when she was almost 32 weeks pregnant and is being cared for in a neonatal hospital. This is the second such case in Portugal of a baby born to a mother who was brain dead. Thousands of Jordanians took part in a mass march in support of the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem on Friday in Amman, Jordan. Hundreds of people staged a demonstration to demand the resignation of Algerian President Abdelaziz Bouteflika last Friday in Algiers, Algeria. Brexit supporters gathered to take part in the final leg of the march to leave Larry in London, England on Friday. Turkey's state-run relief agency said it had sent more humanitarian aid to Mozambique for those affected by the deadly tropical cyclone Idal. Idal made landfall in Mozambique's port city of Beira on March 14th with wind up to 110 miles, 177 kilometers per hour, killing at least 534 people in Mozambique, according to local media. The combined death toll in Mozambique, Malawi, and Zimbabwe now stands at over 740, according to media reports. Hamza Tasdele, head of the Turkish Disaster and Emergency Management Authority, said a second cargo plane carrying 100 tents, 650 personnel hygiene packs, and 200 food parcels left for Mozambique on Friday. UN has said the cyclone had disappeared about 110,000 people, forcing them to take shelter in camps across central Mozambique. More than 17,500 houses were damaged by the cyclone, said Tasdele, adding that AFAD crew was among the first to respond to the disaster. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov delivered a speech during a joint press conference with his Turkish counterpart Mevlut Çavuşoğlu in Antalya, Turkey on Friday. Lavrov said we are stick to the agreement with Turkey about S-400 air defense system. There is no sale to any countries except Turkey. 37 undocumented migrants were held in the Aegean province of Aydin, Turkey last Friday as they attempted to illegally cross into Greece. Last Sunday, there was heavy rains that caused flooding in Kirkuk, Iraq. Thousands of people staged a demonstration to protest against the lack of infrastructure in depopulated areas of Spain's rural interior yesterday in Madrid. Turkey's Defense Minister Hulusi Akar delivered a speech during his meeting with families of martyrs in Istanbul on Friday. The defense minister added that Turkey expects everyone to empathize with developments in the Aegean Sea and it should not be provoked. Akar said Turkey's foreign policy was based on peace, friendship and good relations with neighbors. However, he added that we will not allow a feint accomplice, noting that we want everyone to know that we will not whatever necessary in line with self-defense and international laws. Referring to possible hostilities in the surrounding seas, he went on to say that Turkey had already taken all measures to defend its interests in the blue homeland.
İçinde, karada, denizde, havada ülkemizin ve asil milletimizin güvenliği için gece gündüz demeden mücadelesini sürdürüyor.
Lights of Presidential Palace Complex in Georgian capital Tbilisi were turned off to support the traditional International Environmental Action Earth Hour on Saturday. The Earth Hour is a global environmental campaign which is held annually by the Worldwide Fund for Nature, an international non-governmental organization founded in 1961. The lights of iconic building at Red Square were turned off to support the traditional International Environmental Action Earth Hour in Moscow, Russia on Saturday. At least 10 people were injured during the Great March of Return and Palestinian Land Day demonstrations in the east of Shujaiya neighborhood, Gaza City, in Gaza on Saturday. Hundreds of protesters gathered in front of the Israeli embassy in central London in solidarity with Palestinian people who are holding large Great March of Return and Palestinian Land Day rallies across Gaza border in London, United Kingdom, last Saturday. The Turkish TV series have drawn a great interest in Israel in recent times. Among them, Istanbul'un Gelin, the Bride of Istanbul, is the most popular Israeli media reported. Anne, Mother, and Kadın Woman are also among the most watched Turkish TV series in Israel. Israeli headlines Haaretz used the headline, the Turks are back and they've got all the Israel addicted in an article about the popularity of the Turkish TV series in the country. Hundreds of Palestinians began to convey on the Gaza-Israel buffer zone on Saturday to take part in mass rallies marking the first anniversary of anti-occupation. The protesters also commemorated the 43rd anniversary of Land Day when 6 people were killed in 1976 during demonstrations against seizure of Arab land in Galilee. Erdogan said that those who wish to close Turkey's southern borders with a terror corridor will never find a chance to do that. He added that we have taught the necessary lesson to those who try to do that, and we will do the same to them in the future. Syria has been locked in a vicious civil war since early 2011 when the Assad regime cracked down on pro-democracy protests with unexpected ferocity. Since then, hundreds of thousands of people have been killed and more than 10 million others displaced, according to UN officials.
Arkanızda dev bir megabort var. Hemen oradan size 17 yılda İstanbul'a ne yaptık? Bunu bir göstermek istedim.
Mongolian barbecue named Bodog in Ulaanbaatar. In Bodog cooking method, the meat gets cooked with the help of stones which have been preheated in a fire. Marmot or goat cooked with hot stones in the stomach. The next to krohog, the cuisine of Mongolia, they know as a second recipe that uses hot stones for cooking. Bodog uses a similar cooking method, except that the meat isn't cut into pieces. An electrical outrage left much of Venezuela without power on Saturday. This marks the third major breakout in Venezuela going through a political crisis. Pope Francis visited Morocco on his latest trip to a predominantly Muslim state. He met migrants and Muslim leaders and held a mass for the country's small Roman Catholic community. The Pope celebrated Mass in a sports center in the Moroccan capital, Rabat, on Sunday. Catholics against trying to convert people to their own beliefs, saying this always leads to an impulse, Pope said. Mozambique's President Filipe Nyusi has announced that the search and rescue operation to find survivors from Cyclone Idal, which hit 2 weeks ago, is now over. Speaking from the port city of Beira, where the cyclone made landfall on 14th March, the president said the team remains vigilant on the ground and ready to intervene wherever the situation demands. Mr. Nyusi said a new phase in the recovery operation was beginning to help those affected and rebuild the education, health, energy, transport, industry and trade sectors, which were all devastated by the cyclone. The authorities in Mozambique say that 493 people died as a result of a cyclone Idal. Thank you so much for being with us. You can check our social medias of Natural Television or send us messages on our WhatsApp number written on your screen. You're watching Natural Television and my name is Sauda Muganga. See you soon.